Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Extreme Accelerated. We're going to be talking about rebranding copy tonight, and we're going to continue the series. And when we left off, we were talking about rebranding. So what I want to do is I just want to recap, what we're talking about when we mean rebranding, or what are we trying to do with the branding process. And then I want to talk about what you're going to do in particular with your PLR copy, right? With your PLR copy. If you have any questions while we go, please feel free to write it there in the box. Hello, Dana. And then we will just kind of go through this. So again, feel free to stop me if you have any questions. All right. All right. So let's talk about rebranding copy. Rebranding copy. So what's rebranding? Rebranding is remaking the assets with your USP. And once again, your USP is that one thing that you're doing in your business that is going to be unique and that other people can't easily copy, and the reason why people buy from you, right? The reason why people buy your service, reason why people buy your product. And it's especially important in information marketing where you can get any information any place. You can go to YouTube to get it. You can go to Kindle to get it. You can go to a blog and get it. The question is going to be always, what is it about the way you deliver it, about the way you do what you do that makes people have to come back to you to get it? And then you may not have this yet, right? Developing a USP takes time. So if you feel like, well, I don't really have a USP, I don't really even know what it is yet, I'm not really sure how to really define myself versus everybody else, that would be okay. It really does take time because when you're really doing it right, you might even be developing or redeveloping products and services in a different way, right? You might be redesigning what it is you offer based on what the market is, based on what people want. And so if you don't feel like you are unique in the marketplace yet, that's okay. That's something that you will want to deliver, but you do want to have an awareness of it so that when you see the opening in the marketplace where you can get in there, where other people can't get, where you can actually offer something that people are not offering, or where you can do something that other people can't do consistently, then you can then start to look at that becoming your own USP, right? The USP is something you have to try to drive home with everything. And that's whether that's with your business cards, that's with your website, that's with your emails, that's with your, with the stories you tell, that's with your Facebook, that's with your Twitter, everything that you do. When you figure out what the USP is, everything has to drive this home. And that's why we're really going to even talk about copy tonight, because it's not enough just to have sales copy. Because look, if you have a 10% conversion rate, that means then that 9 other people are not going to buy that particular product or service. What about those 9 people who come to read your sales copy? What do you want to do with them? One thing you want to do is you want to reinforce what it is that you do uniquely, what it is they can come back and get to you. So even if they do not buy, even if a sales letter or a sales copy does not convert an individual, you have still reinforced your USP with them, and so you want to have that in there. If sales copy is uncovering the value, when it comes to an information product, part of that value has to be the way you deliver it. And again, this is just reinforcing this idea that you bring something unique to everything. So when you start talking about getting a PLR video, you start talking about getting a PLR, let's say a PLR ebook or a PLR audio package. What is it that you can offer that when I get done either listening to it or watching it or reading it, that makes me think of you, or makes me think of the way you deliver it, or makes me think of the way you do business, that I've got to come back and for you to get more? Is everybody with me on that? So if you kind of get this idea of rebranding, because we've been talking about this over the last couple of sessions, if you get that, please put the number 1 in the question box. If you're, let's say you're getting it. And that's really where we want to have the mindset about rebranding. We want to have the right perspective about rebranding, especially as we start talking about what you're going to do with your copy. How many of you have, let's say, sales copy that you got with hey, maybe you got PLR videos, or maybe you got a PLR ebook. And how many of you have said, well, what am I supposed to do with this, right? And that would just make you like everybody else. So if you have gotten that and you felt like, well, I don't really know what else I should change, what I should add to it, what I should take out of it. And typically, when we teach this, when we start talking about rebranding, we start talking about changing words and talking about changing, let's say, particulars about what it is you're offering. And I think all that's good and all that's necessary, but that's not really going to help us, number one, make the sale, number two, build our brand. And so, again, the brand is going to be, what are you repeating over time? What are you saying over and over and over again? If you think about what a brand really is, a brand is something that gets burned into your brain. Well, how do you burn something into somebody's brain when it comes to information? You repeat it over and over and over again. When companies spend billions on, let's say, an advertising campaign, they don't expect that you're going to see a Lexus and it's going to automatically make you go out and get one. What they expect is that if they play that commercial 10,000 times, you see it 10,000 times, you get ready to go get a car, someplace in your brain you're going to be thinking, you know what? Maybe the Lexus is something I want. You don't even know why that is, right? It's repetition, right? Rebranding is repetition. You burn it into people's brain by repeating it. And that's why I'm saying to you, you really got to have it in everything you do, right? You've got to try to repeat your USP in everything. Okay, so now let's talk about rebranding copy. What do we add to the copy? So you have this PLR sales page. You have this sales copy. Maybe you have a Word document. Maybe you have an HTML file. So don't worry so much about the coding, because that's not the issue. The issue is you can get someone else to do the coding, right? You can outsource the coding for little or nothing. So don't worry so much about making it look like something. What you and I have to do is try to figure out what needs to go in that copy, number one, that's going to help me to make the sale. Number two, even if I don't make the sale, it reinforces something that I'm trying to get across to my customers. If they're one of the 9%, let's say they're the 90% that don't buy, what have I said to them that makes them want to come back? So you want to add to those things that make people want to buy. You want to add things that are going to be unique to you and your offers, right? So what's in copy? And this is something that, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on. It's something you already know, right? We already know what a headline is, right? Your headline is going to be the first thing people see. It's going to be the thing that grabs their attention. It's going to be the things that makes people stop in their track and start thinking about what it is you're saying. Empathy, right? There's typically a paragraph about empathy where you're going to relate to the person, where you're going to tell them you understand them, where you're going to tell them you get them, and you're going to make it tangible, right? Empathy. Then you have bullets, right? Benefit bullets, where we're talking about things like how a product is going to benefit them. So in other words, it's not so much about the features of a product, it's about how it benefits them. In other words, what is my life going to look like? Right? So we're spelling those things out in the bullets. We're not talking about that the engine, right, is a 2.2 liter Hemi engine, right? That goes in there. But what we're really talking about is what we're going to look like to our friends, right? What are people going to think when we drive up, in the, with that engine and it's humming? So again, we're talking about features. I mean, we're talking about benefits, not features. And then we're talking about testimonials, right? Right? In other words, we need to have social proof. In other words, other people have said they've had the experience with us. And so you can have the very same experience. And then we also have proof. Right? So what do we mean by proof and social proof? Proof is scientific evidence that what you're talking about, the category of what you're talking about, works. So in other words, you have a survey of people, right, who have things like you. They demonstrate to you that, let's say your product is on Facebook ads, you have some kind of statistic that says that Facebook ads generate, 80% of the revenue for an information product, whatever the case is, right? You're talking about scientific, right, quantifiable, researchable evidence. You need to have that in your copy, and you should have that in anything else that you do. So in other words, if your sales copy that you buy, it doesn't have that, typically it's going to have that, even if it's got PLR in it, it's going to have something like that. But if it doesn't, you want to add it, right? You want to have some proof in there. You want to have some social proof in there. Social proof is the same thing as testimonials. You want to have an offer. So in other words, it's not just a sales button, but it's an offer. So it's not just that they're going to get the product. What else comes with the product, right? So we're going to be talking about having some bonuses in there. We're going to make sure that this is something that they know is not only for a limited time, but that this is something special. The offer, when you make an offer to someone, you're not just selling them. What you're really trying to do is you're saying, hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't you get this now, and here's what I'll do for you. It's like a conversation. An offer is a conversation with your customer, saying to them, it's almost like you drawing close to them, drawing them in, talking in a really hushed tone and saying, okay, look, I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do for you. That's the offer. We're talking about a guarantee, right? What your guarantee should have something in it. So in other words, let's say I don't like it. Let's say that I don't really like what I have. What is it? What is you're going to do if I don't like it? And then some kind of scarcity. All those are going to be part of your sales copy. Now again, that's copywriting in about 10 minutes. Right? And obviously, you know, some people spend their whole life teaching copy and writing copy, and that's just an overview of copy, but that's basically what should be in your sales letter. And if those things are not in there, you have to get them in there, right? So let's say that the copy you buy, you go through this list and you don't see any proof in there, then you need to go find some statistics. You need to go find some scientific proof. If you don't have some testimonials in there, go get some testimonials about you, right? Now, let's say you get PLR. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get testimonials about the person who wrote the PLR, but you can get some testimonials about what the experience is like buying from you, right? What is it like dealing with you, right? You should be collecting testimonials all of the time. Now, so now when we start talking about rebranding, what can I change with this, right? So I've got this PLR sales letter. What can I change? What should I be changing? What should I be looking to change? What should I be looking to add to it? What should I be looking to take it away? What elements can I or should I be changing in the copy, right? So now, what makes copy usable, right? So let's start talking about how do I change the empathy. So in other words, if I'm going to empathize with someone, I'm going to do it according to my USP. If I am going to say that I understand what it's like to to not get traffic, but I'm going to understand that how, right? I'm going to understand that from the perspective of what I do uniquely. So I don't want to just say that I understand, let's say that, you're not getting the social media traffic that you need. Let's say we're talking about Facebook traffic. And if I'm not a Facebook ads expert, I don't really want to even get your mind going into Facebook ads. What am I going to add to the copy? I'm going to add something in there about how organic traffic really converts, right? I'm going to empathize with people about what it's like not to get that organic traffic. If I'm not going to be selling Facebook ads, I don't want to talk about that, even if it's effective. When I empathize with somebody, I'm going to empathize with them based on my USP. It has to be in the copy because, again, remember, if somebody doesn't buy from you, that's fine, right? 9 out of 10 people aren't going to buy from you, but it's okay at that if they go away knowing what your USP is. So when you empathize in the copy, when you are understanding who they are. In other words, the empathy part of the sales letter is where you are going into great detail, spelling out to the individual, saying, you know what, I understand you. I get you. But that has to be done from a perspective. It has to be done from the perspective of your USP. You can make your copy usable in terms of proof. What is the scientific reason for them needing what you are offering? Right now, again, that's what proof does. But again, we come back to the USP. What is the scientific reason that you do things the way you do them? Right? So let's say that, you don't use Facebook ads. You only use organic traffic. You don't rely on Facebook ads, or you don't rely on Facebook at all. Right? What is the reason for that? What is it that makes the way you do things necessary? Why is it that people need to consider the way you're doing it? You should have some science on it. You should have some verifiable, something quantifiable that you can say. And again, all this does when you bring that third-party information in, all it really says is, hey, I've got credibility. I'm not just winging this. Right? There's a reason for this. There's necessity in it. And I do this because there's good, solid evidence as to why I do it the way I do it. Proof is necessary when you add to the copy. Now, again, I know that this sounds like, well, man, I bought the PLR so that I wouldn't have to do all this stuff. And that's understandable. But if you really want to make a sales letter effective, right? If you really want to make it, you tailor that sales letter to you. You tailor it to your business. Now, again, all those other elements that I just talked about previously, the headline, social proof, all that stuff needs to be in there, right? So if you don't have that stuff in there, then you've got to make sure that gets in there. But then once you have all those elements, then it's time to start working with stuff so that it becomes about you and your business. Now, social proof. Let's talk about testimonials. Always be gathering testimonials about you and the way you do things, right? Right now, if you're not gathering testimonials, start doing that, right? And again, this is a discipline, and it's not something that I'd say falls to the top of people's list. Typically, I mean, what comes to the top is making sales, and I understand that. But this is going to help you long term if you do it consistently, right? When you understand that people, excuse me, people are going to buy sometimes just based on the fact that they see other people have bought, you don't know the impact of one testimonial, right? So try your best to get disciplined about collecting testimonials and then make them about you. They don't have to be about the product. Sometimes people are going to give you a testimonial about how awesome you are. But again, it can't just be how awesome you are. It has to be how awesome you are at delivering your USP. Now, again, if you're gonna pull a quote out of a testimonial, pull the quote out of the testimonial about how you deliver your USP. Right? Social proof is something that you can change. Sometimes it is about the guarantee, right? Sometimes it's about the guarantee. Sometimes it's the way that you deliver your guarantee. When you start talking about rebranding the sales copy, and you're going to offer some kind of guarantee that other people don't have. Maybe you don't want to offer a money-back guarantee. Maybe you found something cooler to offer. Maybe you've got something that really does matter to people. Sometimes, when it comes to information products, right, and somebody's really dissatisfied, sometimes what your promise to them is going to be something even better, right, than getting their 7, 17, or $27 back. Now, here's where you're going to make the most impact, right? It's the bonuses, right? Bonuses should be added to the copy. Now, you're not always going to get them when you get a PLR sales letter. This is your responsibility. You need to add bonuses, and not just because people like bonuses. This really does add substance to the offer. It's really part of the offer, right? So in other words, you and I have to figure out what really matters to people, and we have to be, I'd say, you want to err to the side of being generous, err to the side of being liberal with your bonuses. When I say liberal, I mean small L. I mean be willing to overflow with the bonus and make it relevant. Now, let's get into this a little bit more. So where can you get them? So number one, I suggest now you should be building an inventory of PLR, right? Always be building an inventory of PLR and use it, right? Use it as a bonus. When you buy a PLR, you should know where everything is. You should have it, I'd say you should have it cataloged, or you should have it in a site so you can know what it is at a glance. You want to know your inventory. And so you want to use this PLR for your bonuses. Now, here's what I'm going to say to you about that. Be careful about using the images and graphics that everybody else is using. Now, if it's a bonus that, let's say, not everybody else tends to give away, if you're doing a bonus that not everybody else tends to have, then yeah, I would say for the sake of time, you might want to go ahead and use the graphics that those bonuses come with. But often, if you're going to get something, let's say that other people are using, go one step further and at least change the graphics. You don't want to have something out there that when somebody comes to your page and they see something that somebody else has, it's the exact same thing, it can be a turnoff. And again, understand something. I understand that time's of the essence, and not everybody has time to redo graphics. Even if you know what you're doing, even if you have staff, you can't necessarily take all your graphics when you do an affiliate promotion and do the bonuses, right? I know that. But, right, whenever you can, I'm saying that whenever you can, try to leave time that if you're going to add a bonus to your PLR, make sure that you change the image. You know, one easy thing to do, right? If you understand how to create graphics, you understand how to copy graphics, just change the graphic to the existing, the existing theme of what you're offering. So if you have, if everything in the product you're offering, the information your product you're offering is dark blue, and it's got a blue, let's say, e-cover, then just change the bonus to that e-cover, right? That's easy. Now, you might have to do a little extra work, but what that does is that really does change the nature and the perception of what people are seeing. Now, this is huge, right? When you start talking about bonuses, bonuses are supposed to increase the value of what people are purchasing, whether or not they're buying your product or buying an affiliate product. So be willing to pay for them, pay up for them. So in other words, don't try to look for the cheapest possible way to buy something that you can actually use as a bonus. If you're going to get something unique, you're going to get something that's good that people are going to value, be willing to pay for it. Be willing to grab something. When you see something and you know that not too many people are gonna have it, and you're going to be able to add it to your product, buy it, be willing to pay up for it. So one of the real keys of being successful and using bonuses on your products. Now, again, I'm not talking about an affiliate promotion right now, but even though these this applies to that, when you have something that's unique and valuable, you will then increase the value, not just in people's mind, but substantively. Look, when it comes to bonuses, don't try to fool anybody. What I'm saying to you is that when you add a bonus to something, it should substantively change the value, right? So whether or not somebody's buying an affiliate product through your link, or you're talking about your own product, when you add a bonus, it should substantively change the value. Be willing to pay for a PLR membership. Now, again, this is apart from what you're buying. In some cases, when you buy into a PLR membership, you're probably not going to be able to get all the rights that you want, right? So in some cases, what you're doing with this content, maybe you're not paying as much for this one. You're going to be basically using these bonuses in such a way that you're just keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. So in other words, typically, if you're going to be competing with somebody, you're going to be competing with somebody on an affiliate promotion, you're probably going to be talking about they're going to set down 10 of them. They're going to go and get them from a PLR membership. And so sometimes what you have to do, you will probably have to have the 10 most obvious things on your sales page, not because you don't want to be unique, but just because you want to make sure that you're keeping up. Right? And that's typically what you're going to be doing with a PLR membership, especially where you're going to be taking some of those things and adding them to your bonuses, or adding them to a bonus landing page, or adding them to the sales page. Is everybody with me on that? So if you get what I'm saying, please put the number 2 in the question box. Right? If you get where I'm coming from when it comes to bonuses, right? This is how you substantively add to a product. You should be thinking that when you walk away from your sales letter, when you add something to a PLR sales, it should not be the same as somebody who came to a sales letter that looks just about the same. If you do nothing else, let's say that all you do, right? Let's say you don't change the graphics. Let's say you don't change the copy. You don't change the writing. Let's say you don't do what I ask you to do and put your USP in there. But you have some absolutely stunning and killer bonuses in there that are unique and that substantively raise the value, then I'm probably going to buy from you sometimes just to get your bonus in addition to the product, right? How many of you have at times when it comes to information products? I know I have personally. How many of you have at some time you have purchased an information product just because of the bonus that the person offers, either on their sales page or as part of their affiliate promotion? I do that all the time. And so other people are going to do that too, and because it works. And it only works, though, if you go and find something unique. It only works, though, if you find something that's worth my time. Right? So if you just go get something that everybody else has, it looks like everything else somebody has, it's not going to be worth my time. I might as well buy it from somebody else. But if you've got something that, man, you may not have all 10 of the things that the other people have, but you've got this one thing, man, that I looked at your page, I said, you know what, that's what I want. I'll get it just for that. Right now, This is really important, this part of it. Be willing with every PLR package you get, and you should have your eye on what the components are. Always have your eye on what the components of any PLR package that you buy. When you get something, especially if you're going to be using it as a bonus, you can use specific assets when you're gonna place a bonus. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that all you're going to take out of a particular PLR package is going to be the lead magnet page. That's all you want to use. And so what you're going to do is you're going to add that to a particular product because it fits, right? So it's not just that you put the entire product on the sales page as a bonus, right? That doesn't always work. It's not necessarily all that effective all the time. What people sometimes process in their brain is that you have made it relevant. And if you can take out, sometimes it is more relevant for you to, if you're going to use a PLR package as a bonus, it's better to go inside of that package, take one element out of it, and add it to the product that you're trying to bonus up. Does that make sense? So if you get that, please put the number 3 in the question box. If you understand what I mean by that. Take one component out of a PLR product, take one component and add it, as opposed to just slapping it up there, right? That's not always going to work. It's not always going to be effective. And if you really want to stand out, you really want people to remember you, sometimes you just take one component. Now, be willing to create something yourself, right? Be willing to create something yourself. And this can be difficult if you've already gone through the process of creating something for a product launch. You created the product, you think to yourself, well, man, now you know Charles is saying I have to create a bonus too. Let me tell you how to do this. First, you should be doing some kind of training on a regular basis, right? So if you're training in your niche, if you're training on a regular basis, you are going to have materials that you're going to be able to take from your training, and you're going to be able to add to some of your information products. So once again, the training aspect of your business strikes again. If you are doing a regular training on a regular basis, when it comes time to add a bonus, you are not going to struggle. You're going to have one. And so you should always have something to offer. And again, I'm going to suggest that if you're not training on a weekly basis, start doing it. You might say, now, nobody's coming. I don't even know who to invite. Start training anyway, because when somebody comes by and they notice you have a training archive, they'll say, oh, well, this person's pretty serious. I'm going to start going because I notice they keep doing it and they do it week after week. Now, again, you can do it at whatever frequency that you like. You don't have to do it at the frequency that I say, but even though I suggest you do it weekly, right? There's something in our society, in the fabric of the way we view things. That's why television shows are weekly. That's why, you have the pick of the week. We still operate in, when it comes to information, when it comes to media, when it comes to entertainment, we operate on a weekly mindset. And so if you offer something, you're going to do something, you're going to podcast, you're going to train, try to do it on a regular basis, try to do it weekly. If you're doing interviews, right? If you're doing interviews of any kind, if you're doing a podcast, if you are doing a blog, if you're doing something like that, you are probably going to have bonuses to offer. Again, this is the case for doing a podcast. This is the case for doing some interviews. This is the case for getting other people involved in what you're doing, because as an information marketer, you need to have bonuses, and these bonuses are going to be unique. Now, in other words, you don't have to go trying to hunt down, let's say, a Facebook bonus. If you had a conversation with somebody about how to do Facebook ads and you recorded that conversation, all you're going to do is you're going to bundle it up. You might do a transcript. You go to Timmy.com. You have a transcript made. You bundle it up, and you give that away as a bonus, right, for buying either your product or buying a product through your affiliate link. Now, we're talking specifically about rebranding PLR to add your own bonus right now. But again, this also applies to the fact if you're also doing this to market an affiliate product. So we're talking about, what do you do with the copywriting that you get in your PLR package? Well, you rebrand it. How do you rebrand it? Well, you reemphasize your USP, and you basically are very you're very generous with your bonuses, right? Even if you have to go out and buy them, right, and you can reuse them, be generous and be consistent, right? Always, if you're gonna launch on a regular basis, try to add something that will surprise people. Try to add something that will make people smile or delight them. Try to make people think to say, wow, right? Oh, wow. Well, this is cool, right? That is really the effect of a bonus. It's not that it's going to change the nature of the product. You're not trying to do that. You want the product to stand on its own, but you want people to get to the download page. You want people to get to the members area. You want people to get the first email and say, oh, wow, I got this is okay, wow, this is cool.